You ready to get dusted? We're here to talk about Duster, Season 1, Episode 2. We can't go on together with suspicious minds.
Suspicious mind.
Yeah, baby. My name is Axel. I'm here with Ando and Solo. We are from the DVR Podcast Network. You can check us out at dvrpodcast.com. You can go to our Patreon. Like so many of our amazing, wonderful patrons, we love all of you. Thank you so much. You keep the show going. If you like that we're covering this show, maybe you're an old Lost fan and you're like, Josh Holloway. And then you realize, oh my God, it's the guy from the Lost Revisited Now and Lost Mythos. I always forget if it's Lost Now Revisited or Lost Revisited Now. It always messes me
I
up.
don't even know.
We're that's right. It's us. We're here. So go over to patreon.com/DVR and throw us some ducats to keep the show lights on. Um, we're going to talk about a great one here. Solo, how are you this week?
I'm wonderful this week. My birthday is this weekend, as you guys know. So we're
Happy
starting the
birthday.
party early. So
Nice.
feeling good. Cleared my schedule today. I got no auditions, no nothing. So I am free and clear to eat some kale and dust. Uh,
Nice, baby.
Great episode. I'm having so much fun with this show. It's exactly like what I needed as like a pre-summer kind of fun
The best.
retro show with people I love.
Yep.
So
I
excited
agree,
to
baby.
talk about it, baby.
I agree. Oh, by the way, before I introduce Ando, I'm going to say what Ando always tells me to say, which is we are also live on YouTube. We do every show live on YouTube. So remember, subscribe because like 60% of the people who watch the videos don't actually subscribe. And we need to get to like 500 people so we can start earning the big YouTube bucks and get backgrounds and dancing and camera movements and all types of stuff, dolly
More
shots.
Lego for Axel.
That's definitely
I
happening.
need some more Speedos. I got some
More
holes in
more
mine. So
action figures, Lego, anything
Yes.
having to do with film, TV, or geekerdom that our wives want out of the house. That is
Yes.
like
what
my
we
new
desire.
Axel, my new popcorn tin obsession from the movie theater.
Collected the popcorn tins. All right,
Three of them.
Ando, how are you doing?
I'm good. I just finished my pre-podcast push-ups. I'm nice and
Nice.
stretched out. I'm ready to rock and roll. Let's podcast.
Nice. Yes. All right. Well, this was a great show. A lot of fun. Basically, we had two A stories. We had Jim on his journey. We had Nina on her journey. We followed both of them. We got to meet so many interesting new characters as well as bring back some old ones. I was in a little bit of shock because I was saying to myself, holy shit, they already killed Donell Logue? What the fuck? We only get 1.5 episodes with this guy? Come on. But he survived somehow. Um, this was a very fun show. And I do want to start off by correcting with the opening titles. I think that Heath, it was Heath that said it was like
And
Matchbox
Ando.
cars.
Yeah,
And
both of us.
Ando.
Hot Wheels,
You
yeah.
were right. I was wrong. It is not remote control. They move kind of like remote control cars,
Yes.
but I mistook the antenna that's on the back of the Duster that he sometimes tucks in. Sometimes it's tucked down. Sometimes it's like
And
free and up.
that's I should have caught that because what
Yeah.
that is like my area of the country is the only place outside the 70s where CB radios are still used. That's for his CB. When he's talking on his CB
Yep.
radio, he has that back antenna up.
I
Which
think,
does. Go
guys, I'm
ahead.
sorry, Axel. By the end of the podcast, I think Ando's going to sound like Nick Nolte.
That's yeah, you might be. Well, like I said, I was talking over you guys so much last week. I had to make sure
I
my voice was
know.
tired so I can run out of still things to talk about. The other thing with that opening credit sequence too, you can actually see a loop-de-loop like they have in the Hot Wheels sets. They actually go up
Mm-hmm.
a loop-de-loop just like it. And
That's
there's one other thing I
yeah.
noticed too. They're changing the credit sequence every week. If you watch
Oh,
it, there's a scene in here where the cars drive by and there's a power line and there's a pair of blue suede shoes hanging on the power line.
Oh, Ando with the
now
knowledge.
Ando, I
I don't
thought there
think
was
that was
shoes last time,
maybe
but
there
maybe
was
not
last
blue,
week.
but maybe not blue suede. I
Yeah,
don't
I don't,
know.
Ba-boom.
and maybe it was there last week, but I don't remember seeing it. But it's definitely there this week because I watched it. I watched it
I
twice. But
love that. I love that. Well, yeah, they The what really tipped me off was the what do you call that? The loop de loop, right?
Yeah, that's what I was calling it.
Where
Yeah.
it has those little extra pieces of plastic that keep it together, right? Like
Uh-huh.
because you always remember that from when you were a kid because that's where it would hit
You're
and it would
right,
fall
right.
Yep.
off. So
Yep.
you had to smooth that part out, right? And yeah, yeah. So I did that credit sequence is a lot of fun, man. The whole episode was super fun. Was somebody going to start? Solo wanted to say something.
I just wanted to say real quick on the credit sequence. It's funny because I had faith in you, Axel, that me and Andy were wrong. When I was watching the credit sequence,
So
I
did
was even
I.
looking for, you remember the car set where it had the little needle and it went into
Yes.
the track? That's what I
Oh.
Oh
was looking
yeah.
for. I was like, oh, maybe that's it that
Oh
Axel was saying,
wow.
but I didn't see any needles.
Slot car.
Slot car.
Is that what
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
called? God,
Yep.
I'm flashing back to the 80s and all my Christmas gifts and birthday
I
gifts. And
know.
I mean, I was
Well, let
watching the
me tell
Muppet Show
you.
the other day and I was like, I had an animal drum set when I was like
Oh,
7.
that's the
Oh,
best.
that is awesome.
This
Yeah.
show brings that stuff. I mean, I'm 50. Solo's going to be 50 this weekend.
48
It's
in
his
Hollywood.
birthday.
48 in
Okay,
Hollywood.
48 in Hollywood,
That's
as well as you're 6'2".
with the afro.
Yeah, right. Ando is a little younger, but of this a similar
I'll be
generation.
48 in Minnesota in a couple
Yeah.
months. So
Okay, there you go. But this show, I love that part of it because I love the intro too, because just we're only in week 2 and we're settling into this show, right? Like we only saw one episode and it was a lot of fun, but quite frankly, this episode could have sucked. They could have went in directions that didn't feel right. They could have made changes as happens a lot, right? And we know this had a long production run as well. But man, this show knows what the fuck it is. There was some little tonal things in the beginning in the first episode, but there were none of them in this episode. This episode, I fully felt as though I was in this world, and I immediately sunk right into it, and I really love this show. I'm so glad we're covering this show. We always question that. Solo, Alcatraz, it could happen.
Yeah.
Alcatraz, there are
Flash forward, me
Alcatrazes
and Miss
at
Wendy
flash
did flash
forward.
forward, hoping it was
Yeah.
going to be the next Lost.
There's a lot
Then
there. Yeah.
Donald went to work with Lost Boss, did Desperate Housewives Boss. No, he never did. But
Some people did Surface. Remember Surface?
Oh God.
yeah,
Um,
I
I
tried
have the
there
not to.
DVD set.
before from between Lost and Game of Thrones, there was a long time there where people they went back and did old shows, but there wasn't that genre. But anyway, this show knows what it is. It's self-assured.
Yeah,
I'm
it
just
feels more
really in love
confident.
with
This
it.
episode seemed a lot
Yeah.
more confident. Like you
That's a
said,
good point.
it
Yep.
was a little uneven last. I still loved the first episode, but it was not quite. It's like they were still trying to get their footing, and it feels now like they have their footing. They know, like you said, they know exactly what they're going to be, and
Yeah.
I think this was a
Well, I
great
think
episode
Ando, they almost, I mean, we still have it, especially with the Adrian Barbeau real life
too.
Adrian
Yes.
Barbeau character. Um, they had to get the establishing of how racist it is. It's 1972. All that kind of set the tone stuff of
Hmm.
what's going on here in Arizona. And I
Yep.
think this one you got snippets, but it's like time to get into more of the story and different
Of
things.
course. Yeah.
So it was a
Yep.
little uncomfortable just because, I'm looking at my wife and I'm like, oh yeah, it's not 2025. It's
Yeah.
we had
Yeah.
talked about that. She even asked me, what, wait, wasn't Elvis dead? I'm like, actually in
Yeah.
1972, no, I think Fat Elvis
Yeah.
started and
Yep. He was
he didn't die till
just starting his
77.
just starting his decline. I think in this
I
period.
think August 16th, 1977, or something like that was
Yep. I think it
his
was
death.
right before my birthday or the year I was born. So 77. Yeah.
Wait. I think he was. No, I think Elvis had already gone down, and the Hawaii concert bad, or was that the one his comeback? I can't remember
I
Well,
because
he
think
did
that
a live special, but I think
yeah,
that was 68, but
I think I can't remember. I don't know. I don't know my
it was
Elvis
like
well
NBC
enough.
because they
Yeah,
re-aired it a few years ago, actually, the Elvis
interesting.
special. We'll have to dig deep if they continue with Elvis. Should already dig deep before the pod, right? Well,
Yeah.
my shovel broke. Couldn't dig.
Oh, yes, exactly. Yes.
Let's see. Okay, this one, no, I think this was pretty good. Elvis, yeah, he looks good in this. Yeah, I think that I think maybe he had not
Maybe
gone down.
75-ish is where he went
Yeah.
down.
Yeah, I think this was kind of in
Yes.
his peak, like when he was starting to go
He's
down
probably
that
doing a
road.
lot of the movies right
I
now.
think so. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, this was before. Oh, actually, this was before. Oh, okay. This was after a 7 year hiatus from live performances.
Oh, okay.
So that, yeah, interesting. So this was his return. This was basically like his return from acting back to doing live shows. So I think that the fall is coming after this, and then there's a bit of a
Right.
return, and then of course there's the toilet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That sounds about
But
right.
I know all the Elvis songs by heart. I know so many Elvis songs, and the way I know them is because I worked at Burger King when I was 17 years old, and they played Elvis for a year. They would not change it and only played like a 30 song Elvis compilation
Oh, gee.
in the store. Now, in the back, when we were making burgers, we could listen to like, you know, Hip
You're
Hop
playing
Hooray was
Wu-Tang
big
Clan or
fun.
something.
We
Yeah.
were playing, yeah, we were playing everything in
So
the kitchen,
you order a
but out on
value
the floor.
meal, and then you hear a little less conversation, a little more
Yeah,
action.
dude, yes. Oh my God. No, teddy bear. I always
Thank you
want to
very
be
much.
your
Thank you. Thank you
teddy
very much.
bear. Wear my ring around your neck. I could just go on and on with the Elvis songs.
You
Anyway,
know,
I
he's
love the Elvis connection in this episode.
I'm sorry, I'm so excited. We're talking Elvis, and he has some great non-hit songs if you really peruse, because that special I believe
Oh
he did on
yeah,
NBC. There's one where it is I forget the name, but it's a there's some awesome ones that aren't Blue Suede Shoes and Blue Christmas and stuff. There's I explored a little bit of Elvis a few years ago because of that. They re-aired that special, and I found some
yeah.
gems. I'm like, oh wow. Anyway,
Okay, the
yeah, I
Elvis
can.
comeback special was 1968. So
I
we
was
are
right.
all wrong about this.
No, I
Solo
was
was
right.
right.
I was
Yeah.
right. I said
Okay,
68.
okay. I was wrong. You're right. His comeback special was 68. He must have and then he still continued though to do movies and stuff. Now he wanted
Right,
to get
right,
back into live touring, but that did end the fall because he died in 77. So
right.
it's only 5 years later that he died.
Yeah, I think this is
Um,
when he's cashing in on all of his stuff and doing
yeah.
concert like what the Rolling Stones did for the last 10 years, that kind of thing where he's past his peak but still cashing
Yeah.
in on all of his fans.
The
See,
Colonel.
isn't this great to talk to learn about? That's why this show is really I'm digging it, man. When he was like, I'm gonna steal Elvis's blue suede shoes. I was like, get the fuck out of here. This show is not gonna have him somehow go into Elvis's house. And then they did it. And then they did the Adrian Barbeau and the
Spoiler alert,
Colonel
Axel.
Tom. Yeah, spoiler alert.
Adrian Barbeau did get that mod.
I
Yep.
He was
know.
on it. Well,
Oh,
I
I
know,
know,
I
dude.
know, I know.
Yeah.
I actually had to look it up.
I think in the party we saw Tiny Tim walking around
Yes,
too, didn't we?
thank
Yes.
you, Ando. That is totally Tiny Tim. Yes,
Yeah.
who is very tall. Yeah, you're
It
absolutely
kind
Oh
of
my
right.
God.
it actually gives a bit of the like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood kind of vibes
Right, right.
with when they're just walking around
100%.
and yeah.
That is totally what it felt. And I really wish, because this week someone became my Facebook friend, and now I'm an old man, so it could be a totally fake Latoya Morgan that is now my Facebook friend. But
Oh,
the person's doing a convincing job. Okay, so Latoya, if you're listening, let HBO. I don't know if you have to ask HBO or just come on to the pod. Send me an email, hit me
did
up
you
with a DM.
did you
I
share
want to
this link to
talk.
your main Facebook page? Because since she's friends with you now, she might
Yeah, she
actually
can see all
see
my
your post.
Lego and all that
Well,
kind of stuff. Yeah.
She's not gonna want to come on the pod. She's gonna want to talk about your Lego.
yes, yeah, who
It'd be
isn't?
like
Well,
build a Duster Lego set.
I don't know. It'd be fun to talk about whether Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was an influence
Well,
in
it
giving
has
them
to
a
be
little bit.
Tarantino stuff for sure.
Yeah, but I mean, it gives you, you know how it is. It gives you that sometimes things like this go out of style. It seems
Oh,
Right,
I see.
right.
cheesy that you're doing it,
It
but
gave her
then
freedom
somebody
to do
does
it.
it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Thank you. That's what I meant. The
You know,
freedom to
before we
do
get too far
this.
away from the top of the show, too, I should say this episode was directed by Steph Green again and written by Latoya Morgan and J.J. Abrams again.
Yep.
And since we were talking about the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood thing, one of the things I did find, we talked a lot about the music last week. In the credits, I saw the name of the music supervisor. That's usually who picks the songs and brings the songs to him. It's a guy named Billy Gottlieb. His first screen credit was assistant music supervisor on Pulp Fiction.
No.
So he has, he also,
Oh, there you
Ando,
go,
we got to
Ando.
see more of your face. You're doing two-face
oh,
on the screen.
sorry. He's
Let's get
also,
you. The
he's,
ladies need it.
oh, I don't know about that, but he also did Fringe and Alias, a bunch of other J.J. Abrams
Yeah.
stuff, a lot of TV
Yeah.
stuff. But the Pulp Fiction thing stuck out to me. And since we were talking about the main credits, the main credit theme was actually written by J.J. Abrams as well. So that was
Interesting.
in
Yeah,
the
he did
credits
the
I saw as
Lost
well.
one, the Fringe one. He
Yep.
does usually the main little
And I
extra paycheck for JJ. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's like John Carpenter, right?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
I wonder
He's
too
closely
if,
tied to Adrienne Barbeau. They used to be married.
dude, let me tell you something. This is what is up with Duster, yo? Duster's got us dusted. But the titles themselves definitely, remember in Fringe, that title was created by some kid on YouTube or something that J.J. Abrams or Bad Robot found and was like, these are the titles, and they made them it's the same Fringe where it's floating and you go through it. It's just a
Yep.
different font. And I love that. I thought that that was a really cool part of the show. I'm just noticing all these things that we maybe didn't mention last week because we're excited about Duster.
Well,
Well, speaking
we've
of
been in the
fonts,
world for 2 weeks too now. We're getting our
Yeah,
bearings a little bit.
exactly.
I just watched the Parks and Rec episode where Rob Lowe asked them to change the font, and then it goes off in a total.
I fell in the pit.
Yeah, I
All right. All
fell in
right,
the
let's get to
pit. All right.
Duster. Let's get to
Yes.
Duster. In an alternate universe, Chris Pratt could be in this show. He would be a cool like 70s like burnout that hangs out in the town or something that Jim like grabs a beer with. That would be kind of cool. I dig that.
Mhm.
All right, so let's dive into this episode. Like I said, we kind of have I get to use this word twice in 1 week, a bifurcated storyline here between Jim and Nina. And I do want to mention one thing before we do get it. I'll say in the preview, we get a little bit of a reminder that he made the promise to the Mexican
Mad
guy to
Raoul.
Bad
Yes.
Raoul, but we don't
Mad Raoul.
Mad
Yes.
Raoul, but we
Yeah.
don't really. He's not doesn't
Corbin
come into this
Burnson,
episode.
Daddy mentions it
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
for like a line, so they're building it
Yes.
up.
Yeah.
They
They're
are.
building it up.
Okay. Because that was, I think, one of the last things we mentioned. We thought that maybe that was going to be what Jim has to take care of. But instead, I love how they jump right into the Donnell Logue. I'll call him by the name of his character. I promise people it's going to happen at
Grooms.
some point.
Grooms.
Grooms. We jump right into that where he just is basically after we have our 15 hours. Was it 15 hours
Yeah. Did you
earlier?
guys like that? It seems like that gets overused when they put a clip from the beginning of like at the beginning of a show and then say 15 hours earlier. I was a little like I was leery when I saw that part of it. That's one minor complaint because I didn't think that was
Okay.
needed.
Okay. I have something to say about it. Solo, you
I,
go.
yeah, I don't mind it, but this is probably the one thing I'm not gonna bash, but it was obvious the shot of the bowling shoes that he had on. They really focused on his shoes, and then
On
it went
both of their
15.
shoes.
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah.
so it was like I knew it set you up to know there was something going on with shoes this episode,
Right.
Yeah.
which at first I'm like, okay, the shoes, but because of what we got, the blue suede shoes and everything, and him leaving his shoes, like okay, it works for me.
Yeah.
But it depends. Sometimes, I mean, I think it was more the who shows up, and I thought it was going to be Mad Raoul, to be
Yeah.
honest. And then that would have been the episode 2 cliffhanger. Oh crap, Mad Raoul's, but
Right.
it wasn't, of course. But what is your take on the whole 15 hours earlier stuff?
Well, the interesting part for me was I agree whenever I see the 15 earlier thing. I mean, the thing first thing I think of is Breaking Bad because I feel like they kind of brought that back to the peak TV kind of like they like to do things like bring back. It's very 70s-ish TV, right? Like they
Hmm.
did that a lot in films and stuff like that, right? Like in Columbo, you'd go back and find what happened. But the interesting part for me is when he wakes up because when he wakes up, it's almost like he's remembering what is going to happen in the future.
Oh no,
And
no.
Yeah.
so I don't,
Well,
I'm not,
when I first saw it, I thought, is it a dream or something?
that's what I'm
I definitely got that. I don't.
saying.
Yeah, there's some weird stuff
There
there.
is he keeps on waking up in this
Oh
show.
no, don't.
Okay?
I don't.
I'm not saying the whole thing is a dream or takes place in AI or an alternate reality or the moon or a base underground after a nuclear holocaust, but it's possible. But I also want to say, as my wife pointed out, that she thinks it's going to be a trope that every episode he wakes up next to another different naked woman. Because this
Oh,
is a different woman that he woke up to
Yes.
naked last episode.
Well,
So I
interesting.
think that's going to
Axel,
happen.
since you dipped into the crazy town for just a second,
Oh,
there
let's
was a
go
few
there.
things in this episode that, like the book that the kid gets, The Terminal Man by Michael Crichton.
Thank you.
You guys know what that book is about?
Please tell us, Ando.
It's about a guy who blacks out and he can't remember what happens and he becomes extremely violent when he blacks out and he ends up getting like brain surgery and melds with a computer and the computer kind of like takes over his brain. Very odd choice to add. I mean, it's very much
Mm.
featured in the show. I'm guessing it's a red herring because everyone
I'm
knows
telling you,
but
man. I'm
they're
telling.
planting
No,
things like
no,
that.
no. JJ, don't fuck around. There is some kind of weird ass
And
conspiratorial sci-fi edge to this show.
one other thing in that same scene in the background, the poster, there's a poster on the kid's wall. It's an MC Escher painting. And I'm sure if you guys don't
I saw that
recognize the
too.
name, you know who he is. He's the guy that has all pictures that are like illusions where it keeps going in a circle and a
Yeah.
circle. Like that's a perpetual motion is what that painting was supposed to be. So he's definitely they're definitely planting some seeds of something weird in here. Just it's too literally to tell, but I couldn't help but go into my lost mode there when I saw
Yeah.
those two things.
Yep.
I'm
So
okay if because of the planting, the slow planting, I'd be okay. I'm okay if something
Oh,
goes batshit crazy. That would be
yeah.
yeah,
awesome.
me too, for sure.
I'm just very skeptical.
Hmm. Yeah,
What's the word? Skeptical?
skeptical.
Skeptical. Jeez, Louise
You're a
Dreyfus.
skeptic. We'll just call
I'm
you a
a,
skeptic.
well, yeah, let's call me a half skeptic. I am because I'm getting so lost in this 70s world. Like I literally,
Yes.
I mean, again, we said this last week, Ando, Justified, Elmore Leonard.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm at home.
yeah, me too.
I
Yeah.
really do. This
Totally.
is very Justified, and not comparing it to Justified because it's different, total different show, but that feel,
Oh, it has the
It
vibe for
is.
the
sure.
vibe,
So,
vibe.
guys, the score is so similar to like the Bad Monkey score, where it
That
really
too.
overly accentuates what's
Yeah,
happening in the scene.
Hmm.
It's really expressive and bright, and like you know what I'm saying. So I think I don't know. I love that part of it, but
yeah.
I do love the fact again that we get right into the groom shit. He comes right up to him. He's like, "I saw you talking to the FBI agent. I'm going to tell Saxton you got to give me 10 grand. Meet me tonight at this place, and we'll do it." And then I was like, I was kind of like, "What's this episode? What's going to happen?" And that if I was in the writers' room and they were like, "That's what we're doing right away. We're getting right back to this." I would be like, wow, we're moving here. Like I
I
was
was
very
shocked. I was
excited.
shocked that
Yeah,
we got right to that right
I'm
away. I
so
love
happy
that.
we did because
me
it's
too.
certain things like I guess when someone knows something that could screw you over in a show, I
A
want it
hundred
taken care
percent.
of right
Th-
away.
The Three's Company. Don't get me into the Three's Company right away on the second episode, right? Where it's like, if Jack only knew, or I'm keeping a
Yeah.
secret, you
Hey,
know,
don't
like
bash Three's
this was
Company.
great.
I'm
No,
just
I love Three's Company, but
okay,
you know what I
okay,
mean. It's
Well,
like,
there's
okay.
so many
it's a
shows though where
trope.
something
I
like
know.
that that would be a
Yeah.
subplot for 4 or 5 episodes before it would
Yes.
come to
This,
anything
Yeah.
actually
yeah.
happening.
But
This
think
is like,
about the
oh, go ahead.
trail that they went on. it wasn't just about a meeting. Think about everything. He had to
Yeah.
go to Palm Springs. Then Putty comes in,
Yes.
and
Oh,
so
that's yeah. So we're sticking with Jim, right? So where does he go first? First, I think he go. Oh no, he goes to his dad's later, right?
Well,
So I think
first he goes to talk to Saxton, and we think get the fake out with
yes.
the plastic on the furniture, and
oh yeah,
Yep.
he's
the
going to get
Dexter
wiped out. And
whack. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. And he thanks him for the heart,
yes.
which I looked up because there have been actually we had a comment on I think I don't know whether it was on our Facebook because I did start a Duster Facebook page for this show. So if you're a fan, look up Duster on Max and join our Facebook group too. We could talk about it. Somebody said something didn't exist in 72 or whatever. I did look it up. Heart transplants did actually take place in 1972.
Hmm.
So it is an actual thing that could,
Oh, I
but
didn't
that's
even
what
know.
he,
I didn't even
yeah.
think that it wouldn't.
Well, I mean, well, I think what I was thinking of was the artificial heart was such a big thing when we were kids,
Right, right,
Mhm.
right.
right? Like, what was that, the Jarvik, right? Or Jarvis? Or is that the guy from
Oh,
Iron Man?
That's Iron Man.
that's
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
that's
I think
Iron
it's
Man's AI,
I think it's
but yeah.
Jarvik, artificial heart. But anyway, yeah, that whole scene was awesome. And he also has a little chat with the daughter. So let's help me with the names
Janice,
here.
Genesis.
Genesis, Sydney
Oh, and
Elizabeth.
Saxton also says that they got Bob Temple on board and didn't even have to use the blackmail stuff.
Yep.
But let's save it for later,
Let's
Yeah,
save
because
it.
then something comes up later.
yeah.
Because Solo, I think it was Solo who was correct in stating last episode that that Union boss is the same one that we hear Izzy complaining about in this
Yeah,
episode,
well, also I brought up the thing
right?
That
about
was Andy, I think. Right.
the semi truck was sitting in her driveway, so
Yep.
because she wouldn't hopped on the CB. So yeah, that is going to be tied together for
So
sure.
that brings us, that is an interesting thing too, right? Because is Jim may be faced with a issue where he wants to use those pictures for Izzy's and those to
Oh
get that
yeah,
good workers comp or whatever he's not giving
Yeah.
days off or whatever
yeah,
she
the
mentioned.
insurance.
But then it may then indebt him to Saxton, right? So I think that this is setting up, just like Mad Raoul, it's setting up something that further down the road may tie into all our different plot lines that are happening.
Well, and she said that they wouldn't cover the health insurance wouldn't cover enough of the expenses. She's pregnant, isn't
Yeah.
she? Isn't that pretty much? Isn't that that has to be what it is? Why she wouldn't tell him,
Very
isn't it?
possible. Because it
Because
was a
she
little weird when she go, how'd it go? Oh,
and
what?
she said
Yeah.
something about,
Oh
well, Dave or
yeah.
Dan or something is normally watching, but he can't be. And he's like, oh, he's still in the picture, is what Jim says. So I kind of got the feeling that she's probably pregnant, is my guess. But
Oh, with
Yeah.
Jim's baby?
no, with this other
No.
guy. Because she says something about how whatever the other guy's name, I think it's Dan or Dave.
I
It's
wish it
like,
was Elvis. Imagine if it was Elvis. That would have
oh,
really.
Oh, that's
that would
right.
have
He
rocked.
says, "Oh, he's still around."
Yeah, that's kind
Oh,
of what I'm
okay.
thinking.
But we
Because
still
she said that the union wouldn't cover the insurance expenses for the medical stuff. So I
okay.
mean, having a baby is not even back then. I'm sure wasn't real cheap. So
But do
Right.
we think that Luna is? Do we still think Luna is Jim's daughter,
yes,
or is it
I do.
his, or is it Joe's daughter? Is she Joe's daughter?
I still
Well,
think it's his. But go ahead, Solo.
they have the conversation that she doesn't know that he's the father.
But they
Yeah.
don't say he's the father. They say she doesn't. He just says she doesn't have any idea, does she?
No, that her
So
she's not her uncle. Not
right.
he's not an uncle.
Well, I
So
don't know if he said
Well,
uncle.
and I guess she does tell him that my dad was killed in the war. So I guess it could
Right.
mean, does she know that her dad was murdered? I guess it could mean that too, instead of meaning, yeah, I don't
That's
know.
the
I still think
oh,
it's Jim's
okay.
kid.
All right.
You see what I'm saying? There's a possibility. I could be wrong, but it's open to
Hmm.
interpretation that I think it could be that he is the uncle, but they're lying about the circumstances of either who he was to protect the
It's
mother or
No, but
her.
he says she called me uncle. She doesn't know. Like,
yeah, it makes more
Okay,
sense that
okay,
Jim's the
yeah,
dad.
don't
okay,
let's
all right,
not. Yeah.
okay, all right. I'll let that go, Solo. You're right. We don't
No,
need to
no,
go
but
crazy. No, you're
no,
right. You're
because
right.
you
I think
bring up
there's
a
enough
good
evidence
point.
to support that. You're right.
Yeah, but I do think that's his kid. But
Um, I have a question for you. Do Jim and Genesis have a history? I feel like they might, and I feel like if he was smart, they would.
I
I
get
know.
the. Oh, go
She's
ahead, Solo.
smoking.
Oh, no, no, Andy, go.
Ooh, I love her.
I have a feeling it's one of those things that it's like they always have thought about it, but have never actually done anything yet. It's kind of the
Ah,
vibe I
because
was
she's
getting.
Saxton's daughter.
Yeah, like they both kind of want to, and they haven't really.
Yeah, but they're criminals, man. I think that means they
Well,
did.
that's
They
true.
so they.
They
Yeah, you
might have
might be
they might
right.
have flirted. They might have, who knows? They might have kissed after a party,
Oh, a kiss! Oh, a
I
Yeah.
mean,
kiss!
he's been around for a
Oh,
while. It could have been just a little nub nub,
just a little peck, just a little kissy kiss.
little Gregory
Anyway,
Peck. But no, it's funny because the Genesis character I'm more intrigued with now.
yeah,
I love the fact
agreed.
she was at the Elvis party. And I'm just like, I don't know, there was something about her this episode that I
Hmm.
was like, oh, I hope we get more.
I
Yeah.
Because
think she could play a bigger part, right? Because
especially with what
oh,
you're gonna about to say.
no, what were you gonna say? You probably have a better idea,
No, I
Solo.
doubt it. You're the
I didn't
idea,
really
right?
have one. I was.
Okay. No, I was saying because we have the scene of they're establishing she's against daddy's wishes, or wants to
Right,
get out of that control. And then
right.
the brother's like, well, he bought the bar and you ran. She's like, I'm a businesswoman. Well, he bought the bar and you ran it. Well, it
Well,
made
Yes.
money. It turned profit. And so
and
she wants to get out, I'm sure, on her own away from that. And so,
well,
I
and her
like
brother
it.
says that he won't let you do that snowbird shit. Snowbird is cocaine, I'm guessing, isn't it? She wants to get into cocaine dealing or drug dealing.
No,
Snowbird is
oh,
mentioned
I
a
don't
couple
know.
times. I'm assuming Snowbird meant cocaine.
I, I,
Oh,
maybe it does,
And
but
then
I,
and then she gets mad and says, "Well, he would let you guys do it because you're the sons, but he won't let me because I'm the daughter." And
hmm,
and what the hell was it? There was some other reference to
it
Snowbird and
there
cocaine.
was. I
it could
interpreted
be.
Snowbird as something different.
I did
Okay,
too,
maybe it
but
was.
you
That's
could
what
be
I was
right
thinking.
because because cocaine now, well, especially in the 80s, was like cigarettes. Like even though it was illegal, it was more
Yeah.
accepted. So I'm sure in the 70s it was too, but it really was until kind of the
Listen,
90s
man,
or late
when
80s.
I remember hearing stories when I used to PA that in the 70s on commercial and film sets, there would just be a table of joints, cocaine, pills that you just like walk by and, you know, that was the PA's job. Go
Hey,
pick it up.
hey, you do what you got to do in this life. Walking through this world all alone.
Yeah, baby. Well, I do feel like I like much better what both of you said about Genesis because I was just going to say, I think she's going to, with the scene with the brother and whatever, I think she's going to factor into
Yeah.
also Jim's decision, right? Because let's not forget what this is all about. Jim is trying to ascertain whether or not, um, what's his name? But I'm going to get the name wrong again. Staten?
Grooms?
Grooms.
No, no, not grooms.
Elvis Presley?
Yes,
Sunglasses?
Elvis. I looked up Snowbird. I couldn't find anything either about that. No, that Ezra Keith
Saxton.
David Saxton.
Oh,
Sorry, I keep on forgetting that
would you
messed
call
up.
him Slayton?
Listen, I'm also watching. This name is fucking with me because it's just like Saxon on White Lotus, and it's
Yeah.
like Staten on Handsome Canyon. So it's kind of messing me
Oh,
up
it
right
comes
now.
back to Handsome Canyon.
So Minka is
Always
always
back to
on my
Minka
mind.
Kelly, yes.
Okay. So it's getting me, and it's Staten too on that show. And I'm like Staten Island? But it is, it's Staten. But then it makes me think Statins like you take for your heart. And it's just it's all confusing me. Anyway,
I'm
Jim is trying to
Yeah, you're
ascertain
confusing both of us too, so
whether or
you're
not
doing well.
Saxton killed his brother. So if his daughter is against him, right? And we see that the son is kind of doesn't approve of the father too, right? And is more of like maybe a geeky kind of guy or a thinker. Maybe he has more allies inside than he realizes, is what I'm trying to say.
That's a good try.
Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
hey,
it's
It makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah.
He needs to talk about it. Maybe if Jim really feels this way, if he can bring it up to Genesis, what he thinks happened, or what he's investigating, maybe it will become a matter of trust, whether she trusts her dad or him, just like with the brother, because we haven't really seen much interaction between him and the brother, though he did save the brother's life by getting the heart. So the brother could be indebted to him.
And by
Ye-
working the heart out too, not just getting the heart.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
He squeezed. He literally had
Literally.
his hands inside his
He was pumping,
chest.
Yes.
baby.
Oh my
What
God.
is your feel? I know we haven't got a lot about Saxton right now. The only thing we really know, what happened in Philly, and he grew his empire, and
Yep.
there's FBI. Are you still feeling he's the big bad, or is it going to be a Tony Soprano type where we sort of root for him, but he is still bad?
Well, the very last scene of the show opens it up to a wider conspiracy or involvement. Was that not Washington, D.C., or was that, all
Yeah.
I
right?
would think so, but
It
it
was
could be the Planet of the Apes storyline with Mark Wahlberg.
that's
Well,
true.
I wasn't sure whether
Yeah,
it was like the capital of Arizona or something I
right,
didn't
right. I believe it
recognize
was
it,
DC. I
but
think
it
No,
it
I
was
was
th
DC.
DC, and that
yeah.
elevates us immediately. And we know JJ lost, he and Alias, he loves the levels, right?
Hmm.
JJ loves to level up. This is the bad guy. Oh no, really? This is the one string in the puppet. So I definitely think not Solo. I'm in line with thinking the more we see the family, it could be that trust is set up, but I also feel like maybe what happens is he becomes an ally, and whatever happened with his brother is deeper,
This
So
might be a deeper storyline where
yep.
he discovered time travel or something. But
Or he has a
no,
robot brain, or
yeah,
yes, it's something.
yeah. So, but yeah, I'm thinking, no, I don't have a robot brain, I don't think. But
You
I
got a
am
broken brain.
I got a broken something or
I
other.
need a robot brain, but
No, and
yes.
I like that, and I like the subtlety because when Adrienne Barbeau in real life, what was her character's name?
Evelyn.
Evelyn. When Evelyn makes the call, so at first I was like, "Oh, is that her husband? He's really not in a mental institution. You know,
Uh,
he's FBI, whatever." But then my wife's like, "No, the way they were talking, they didn't seem like husband and wife." And I'm like, "Okay." So we rewound it, and I'm like, "Who is this guy?" But I'm like, "Is it deeper?" And I know Joe's death has to be tied in with some bigger conspiracy. And the fact that he might be alive, because, of course, as we'll talk about, Nina is investigating and things aren't adding up. And everyone kind of, even Groom says, I just put in the report what I was told to put down, young lady. So,
all right.
you
Is
know,
Well, let's move it along then on Jim's journey. Of course, we end up coming to our good friend, those of us who remember him as Putty, Elaine's boyfriend from Seinfeld. Yeah, yes, Elaine. He's still kind of it could have been Putty in Arizona in
he was
1972.
different. I give him
yeah,
He
credit.
was cooler. There was a
Patrick
yeah,
depth
Warburton,
to him.
way cooler.
I mean,
Yeah.
Yes.
he
Yeah.
played that blue ant thing, and what was that called?
The beetle, the something beetle, I think, wasn't
Beetle
it? The
juice,
The
tick, the
Tick.
tick,
the
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 tick.
Tick.
tick, the tick.
Yeah, he
But
was good in that.
I actually liked the performance he gives in this one
Oh, me too.
because
He's
it
great.
wasn't okay. Here's Putty just or
Yeah, I
doing this
was
thing.
kidding.
It actually was different, and I was like really interested. I'm like, oh, shades. I'm like, I like this. But the fat guys that Jim went to Shades to take care of a problem. Remember, I mentioned last week, he was cool with his buddy when, okay, if don't kill him, and we're trying to figure out with Jim, is he deep in this world? Does he like violence? Is he okay with people dying? Maybe the right. And so I know he wasn't, I was shocked that he got shot. And, I don't think that's what, do you think that's what was supposed to happen? Or was Jim like, thought was just going to blackmail him? Or did he think it would come to, I mean, Grooms gets shot
No.
because he pulls the gun first.
Yeah, they weren't
But
intending for any
No,
violence to
yeah,
happen. They were just blackmailing him with the kiddie porn.
okay,
yep.
okay,
And which they talked about previously as soon as Jim brought it up. They knew who he was, right? Like that's what's kind of cool. This does have that everybody in this town knows each other,
right.
right? And so there always is some way, some leverage that they could pull up on him. Yeah, I don't think they had any intention of that happening. And when Sunglasses, a heavy guy, is killed, if we remember, do we remember his name, Ando?
Yes, his name was Charlie, and he actually has been in a ton of things too.
Yes.
Peter Murnick, he actually
Yep.
was also had a couple episode arc in Seinfeld. Lots of other 2 episodes of Mindhunter he was in, and
Oh yeah,
Solo,
that's
you
where I
will
He's great.
recognize
you
him.
will Solo, you will also recognize him for sure. He had a big role on Justified. He was State Trooper Tom Bergen. He had 11 or 12 episodes, and he got wiped out
Yes.
by Raylan's dad in
Yeah.
that. So yes, he was great. He's had bad luck on some of these Justified type shows. So
There's great.
That's whack.
This show is pulling from those. We're wrecking each person, right?
yeah,
So, like, how many shows have we done, dude? It's like you start realizing, okay, they know what they're doing because they're pulling these great character actors and actresses from other things, but it's also related genre wise,
hmm
Yeah,
and so
that's
you get that instant recognize whatever of it.
recognition.
Recognition. Thank
I,
you.
I
yeah,
like
like
how
if this
I'm
was a
here for
mob
English lesson.
show, it would you would get all your New York mobster
Yes,
actors, you know.
exactly.
Yep.
It's like, yeah, it's like watching SVU Solo or something where all the New
Oh,
York actors show up, right? You
yes.
recognize them. But I don't think when he gets shot, Sunglass's reaction is so sincere. And I thought that's what I loved about this show. Like we were talking about tonally, I don't like when people get shot or killed and then people like laugh or just play it off. That was like such a real reaction
Yeah.
to it. He was like, "Oh no, Charlie,"
Yeah.
and like took. Oh man, it really hit me. And he was like, later we find out that was my brother. You
Yeah.
know, for a
He
Was
second
wasn't
it
I
my
his
thought,
real
friend.
brother or just brother
I
like
th
we're
it
brothers?
doesn't matter, right? It's
Yeah.
what does it
Yeah.
matter, right?
I
It's
know.
Yeah.
his
I just
brother.
I
Yeah.
just wanted to know because the brothers dying are kind
Well,
of
he
a
did
theme.
mention that. He did say that we all have in common the brothers,
Yep.
right? Later on to
So,
Jim. Yeah, this whole thing was freaking hilarious. We got to talk about when Jim goes to the party itself. We did a
well,
little bit
yeah.
of Tiny
That
Tim,
was
but all that was
I
awesome.
love the
great.
party.
Just walking in like he owns the
And
The
place. I
Boogie
just loved
Nights.
it.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Oh, what?
Boogie
Yes. Boogie night.
Nights,
Yes.
using the information he gets from Colonel Tom Parker to go to Adrian Barbeau and say like, well, he's producing that, so women have a choice. I like that where he's like, if you want to
Yeah.
fuck this old loser, go ahead and do it. But
Well, and that's
you're gonna know why you're doing it.
and he
You
got
know.
that line from his ex-wife earlier in the episode. She
Yeah.
says the same exact thing, and he just repeats it and uses it to his own advantage. It was beautiful. It was
But I
perfect.
also believe that Jim believes that
Oh yeah,
too,
for sure. Yeah, because what does she
right?
call it? She calls him like an educate, not an educated man, but something like that. She's like
Yeah.
finally, I can't think of what it is, but she gives him a high compliment for
And
saying that.
evolved? No,
Yeah,
not
that
evolved.
might be it. That
I
might
think
be it.
Evolve. And also,
Evolved.
Adrian
Yeah.
Barbeau played characters like that in her film. She was always very strong, right? And
The
like she had
fog,
her own
baby.
ideas. Yeah.
Yep.
So, oh man, that part was awesome. He gets the shoes. Now, the one thing for me is when we get into the whole fight between Sunglasses and Jim, to me, I feel like that was just him taking out his anger at his brother being killed, right? Like asking him for the extra $3,000 and then trying pulling out the gun and they go at with each other. Eventually ends up dead with the thing going into his
Yeah.
head,
Oh, that thing.
Yeah.
which
The
was
the ball
crazy.
reset thing. Yeah, that was
But I kind of wish
nuts.
Sunglasses didn't do that. I wish he kind of was like, I mean, you took the job, right? It's not Jim's fault.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't
you
I don't
can't
think
raise the stakes right off the bat,
Yeah.
but that happens in this underworld sometimes.
and
And
I
you
don't
get a
think
little
Sung
selfish and see what happens, you die.
Yeah.
I don't think Sunglasses is going to a lot of therapy sessions, so I don't think he's really
Yeah, yeah, right, right.
I don't think he quite knows how to deal with his emotions very well. It's kind of what I got out of that scene.
It was past that. There's some kind of lesson there, though, right? That for Jim too, because Jim's brother died, and now he's seeking revenge on someone he has known and had a relationship with. And what could it end in, right? When you know the old saying, when you set a course of revenge, dig two graves.
Yeah.
So is this a little lesson for Jim? Because who ends up having to help him bury him but his own father?
Yep.
So, and they're talking about him, about Joe too. So I think there is, I'll try to, I mean, this is a fun show, but there's always something else going on. So I try to take that from it as well.
And
That may,
he's not the only character going after revenge. I mean, Nina is too. So we're
Right, right.
definitely going to see that crossover as well. And, going back to what you were saying too about the thing with Sunglasses talking, like when his brother dies, and how that was like emotionally great. I love too how it was a very different scene, but when Jim is talking to Luna, same thing where it's very emotional. I like how they're starting to lace in the emotional beats into the storyline as well
yeah,
to kind of help balance out the goofiness and the silliness, which
Yeah, and
I
it, and
love
it
both.
and it makes us really get invested in these characters. And they're doing
Hmm.
JJ and Latoya are doing a great job at fusing that together. Even down to, if you want to call it Elmore Leonard Tarantino, it's a compliment when you say, because I think when people do stuff like them, I mean, they're the best. So what's wrong with adding a little spice that, but when Grooms pretends he's dead and he's like,
Yeah,
oh, and then pulls the gun. That shocked me. I was like, oh shoot. I
yeah.
love little surprises like that, and it just fit very well.
totally,
This one also had
totally.
a lot of Coen Brothers type feel to it. Maybe just because I watched No Country for Old Men recently again,
Right.
but it gave me a lot of that Coen Brothers feel too. I'm saying that in the good way, like you said
Yeah,
with
the
Well,
Tarantino.
desert.
it's like my favorite direction stuff they've
Yeah.
used in all, and then you got it's just so refreshing when a
Hmm.
show like Axel, you said it before, it knows what it wants to do.
Yeah, yeah.
It may
And they're,
be,
yep. Oh no, just saying they're finding the tone,
yeah.
right? We're getting into the emotion of it, the story of it. So I guess, that kind of ends. Do we have anything else to say about Jim's journey this
Let's talk
episode?
about
He
the Palm
buries him.
Springs party. Do we? I mean, we sort of did, but I just
I
want
think
to.
we all just want to live at that party. Let's
Yes, I
just be
want to be
honest.
there. I want to
Yes.
live
We
there.
just want to keep talking about it because they did
It's
it
a
so well, the windows, everything.
it's a typical California, like 70s, like kudos to the location scout and art director. I mean, again, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I know
Yep.
it's
That's
late 60s, but it's the same. And it's just that feel that I get excited about the whole retro, like Three's Company apartment, the Boogie Nights type house. Like it totally, I don't know why. I think I've been to a few parties like that in that setting. And I don't know. It's something about that retro knit. I dig it. I dig it a lot.
It's like the final episode of Mad Men too. That's what it reminded me of.
Oh, I
I don't
didn't
know if
never
you saw it.
finished
That
Mad
was, I
Men.
think that was different in a different location, but just the whole
Yeah,
vibes,
no,
and
it's
it was very awesome. Very
yeah,
awesome.
that scene
but
was like I say, I don't have anything to add about the scene. It was just
Yeah,
so great. It
just
was
they
cool, fun.
and they pulled it off. It didn't come
Yeah.
off as cheesy or weird or anything. Like it just they pulled it off. I think it's fun. Was there anything else with Jim? Right, we got to the end where
oh,
Corbin Burnson showed. Which, by the way, I looked this up. Corbin Burnson would have been 15 years old when Jim was born if he was actually his father.
At that time.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
I want to
55 and
say
70.
this was a good Corbin Burnson episode. Like we got a little
Yeah.
more, and he was great. He's got some subtlety. I'm starting to believe that this is his dad. That this is
Yeah,
Jim's
oh yeah.
dad.
Yep,
Oh yeah.
for
They're
sure.
building that chemistry. It's good to have Roger Dorn back in our lives. Um, but I tell you, Gail O'Grady, I love, but I hate her character. It annoys me. The blonde, older,
You know,
smoking.
I love it. I
I
don't
do
know
too.
I
why. I think it's
It's
so
so
good.
great, but I
Yeah.
hate it. I hate it.
Yes. Well,
That's what they're doing. That's
you
what they're
love
doing
to
to her.
hate it, right?
I
You
think
love to hate her. She's
my
doing it
biggest laugh
perfect.
is when he walks in and she's like, "You motherfucker," and he goes, "You step motherfucker." I
Yeah,
was
that was good.
laughing my
That was
ass off.
good.
It was
That
Yeah.
was
awesome.
very good.
There are a lot of good little line drops, Sawyer-esque line drops
Mhm.
in
Well,
this episode by everyone, not just
right,
him,
right.
right? They were past, and you know what? You make a good point. The two conversations that he has with his dad at the house when he's getting the glass cutter thing, and when he sees his stepmom, and then when they're digging the grave and all that, they're pretty deep, and you understand that the dad
Mhm.
knows fully about the business. He knows
Right.
about him. He knows about Joe. Like, and I like that too with the even the way when when Jim is going over the plans, he's not hiding it from Luna, right? He's like, I think we should go in
He's
this way. I got a
he's
glass
explaining,
cutter,
yeah,
right?
explaining how he
Yeah,
breaks in, and
The
yeah,
I
only
no,
thing
liked
I will
that.
crazy.
say is that Jim, okay, when Charlotte is in the house, don't have another important conversation that you're gonna go swipe something
Yeah,
about because she likes to listen.
Yeah, I
That's
know.
the only
I
thing I was
know.
like, don't have a big. I know you got to have the conversation with dad, but I'm like, we saw her eavesdropping before, just 'cause I thought she was gonna make a call to the colonel
Yeah.
at a time or
Oh,
something.
okay.
I
That's
mean, not
yeah.
that she would be able to, but
I love the openness about it, and like that's the world they're creating, that this family is just like they're a criminal family. Like it's, and the way he's like, you always see me as a driver. I'm more than that.
yeah,
And then I'm
yeah.
like, you're like 5 years older than me. You're still yelling at your dad about him
yes.
believe like it never ends. That's real life though too, right?
I was
Like
gonna say, that never.
you're
I see
oh
my dad almost
yep.
daily because I work with him. Yeah, that never ends.
It
Trust me.
never ends.
The, I,
Never
you know, there
ends.
was another great line that I wrote down that I thought is going to be important for the rest of the season, where his dad says to him, "Not everything is a solo job," which I thought it would, and you kind of see Josh Holloway's reaction, and he's like, "Huh." And I mean, that's obviously he's going to have to team up with Nina or something or somebody at some point, or the
Yes.
kid or
Right,
Yep.
something.
right.
I just thought I loved that line and just that the way that line was dropped in there. I thought it was perfect for the show.
Yes,
Was it this
sir.
show or God? I apologize if it was a show I watched the last couple of days. Something about oh no, maybe it was a different show, but it kind of reflects like the whole solo job and oh, it's okay to ask for help or get help through this tough world. I don't think this was Duster. I think it was another show I was watching, but it's the same essence
A
of
good
don't
theme.
don't do it yourself when you can reach out for help. And that's actually some good dadly advice. Now I know every time, you should call before you come over like that in old couples and families, especially on the East Coast, that I know that from that, yeah, you should have called first. People don't like stopping over. And so that, and I'll take care, like it's just the dynamic they're building up. It's pretty good.
Should we move over to Nina
Nina Simone. Yeah.
and see what her and Awan are up to? Um I mean, at the same time, we saw Sergeant Grooms already. We talked about him trying to blackmail Jim, but they get to interview him. Um, do they do the interview with him before? Oh no, I think first what they're doing is breaking into, they're trying to track down the evidence and get to the actual car, the van that exploded with Jim's. Is that
With
the
Joe.
first place that they go?
No, I think they talked to Grooms first, don't
Okay,
they?
they talk to Grooms first, but we already know, which plays into it, that what has gone on with Jim, and Grooms doesn't really offer much except talking a little bit about the predecessor, the detective, the former agent, Ando. What's his name again?
Breen.
Breen, that they're looking for, and and then
Well,
what else do they get from
the
Grooms
one
as
big
well?
thing they learn is that he says that because she's questioning the inconsistencies on the report, and he says, "That's your people that told me what to write. I just wrote in the
Yeah.
report what the FBI told me to
Ah,
write."
right. That's a good line there. She
Yeah.
also gets a talking to from Grunberg, which,
Abbott.
as Solo pointed out, I think last episode. Now he's going to tell me it was Ando.
No, this
That
was me.
he,
No, this was
yeah,
Solo
this
for
was
This
sure.
was me.
Solo's.
This was
Yep.
me.
He is not the good guy we thought that he might be. And you were right. When he first was reassigning her back, that same attitude crops back here. And he's basically telling her, don't investigate this guy. Don't talk to his wife. He's in a mental asylum. Leave it alone, or you're going to get sent out again. And of course, he has to mention that she's a black woman yet again. But he talks a lot about um, Chisholm. What was her first name again?
What is her first? That's a real person. She actually,
Jazz.
Yes.
yes,
Oh no,
yes
that's the
for the
Yankees. That's
yeah
the
for the Yankees.
Yankees.
What the heck is her first name again?
See, we got to do all that.
Yeah, I don't trust Abbott, and I would love to play his corrupt brother that
Shirley
runs numbers for
Chisholm.
the mob.
Oh, you
Shirley
could
Chisholm.
do that solo in your sleep.
Yes. Shirley Chisholm, who is a real person, and I think it's really cool that she's written into this show. There's
Hmm.
actually a good documentary about her that is available, I think, on HBO Max. She was a former U.S. representative and politician, the first black woman elected to the United States Congress,
Right.
and she did run for president the, as a Democrat in 1972. And she was from Brooklyn, New York, baby.
Brooklyn,
Yep. She was
no sleep.
actually, look at that. She was succeeded by Geraldine Ferrara in the
Oh,
Secretary of House Democratic Caucus. So that's really cool that she was mentioned in the show, but you get that political bent there again too,
well, yeah.
and you see what old Abbott is laying down, right? Which is the old standby. Don't do this, don't do that. And what does Nina do? The exact fucking opposite.
And she's got
She goes right there.
A1,
Yep,
when they go out to pick that lock or get in that lock, and she goes through, she spills the beans to why she's
yep,
after Sexton and all that, and then he goes and then he opens it right up like he's like, I'm in it. I mean, he even says, I work 90% harder than anyone else, and I still don't get noticed until you came in. And so
Hmm.
it's like I love that storyline too, because the odds are against them. They've been told, don't investigate Jim,
yep.
don't do this, but they're doing it. And they're going to end up, I think, will end up showing up everyone else and probably getting promoted. But I don't know, it's
Yeah.
72, maybe not.
So
But
they're, yeah. Well, let's see too, because you're right. So they're building their team, and then I think what we have is the other side of our story. Jim eventually is that trifecta's got to come together and
yeah,
start working together to see what the fuck is happening. We get them in the diner too, where they end up seeing Saxton. Got it right, baby.
yeah,
See,
there
I
you
There
can
you
go.
go.
learn, man. You
Or you
Yeah.
could
see,
just say Keith David.
I'm on the
We will be members.
podcast. Well, you should use the names of the people.
No,
I
I
got
know,
it.
but
Yeah,
I thought
but
it was a
I'm
backup,
trying.
just in
I'm trying.
case, instead
They
of saying, Brandon Sexton the third or whatever it is.
messing it all up. But I like the old makeup mirror looking at it,
Yeah.
right? That she
Yes.
does. The whole
Talk about the
diner
wall of
itself.
fame in that restaurant. Oh my God,
Yeah,
Ali. And
Yeah.
there was a lot of, I mean, it was just like, it had
yeah,
me for a second. I'm just like, I started thinking of, oh man, it
yeah.
You
was,
know, before we get too far off of Abbott, too, there was another kind of like they brought up Mad Raoul again. They brought up the ASAC a couple different times, the special agent in charge, and we haven't seen him. Abbott even
Right.
says the ASAC would not want you. He wants you to leave Agent Breen out of this, and I'm assuming we're going to see that character at some point soon too. I was wondering, is that the guy we see at the end at in Washington D.C.?
well, I know
Hmm.
the answer,
Oh, you do.
but I mean, it's not a huge spoiler or nothing, I don't
Okay,
think. Do you want me to say something?
sure, I'm fine.
Okay, so I was with you at the end. I thought that was Breen wasn't in the mental institution, but it is not. Different actor
Oh
Okay.
playing.
no, not Breen. I mean the ASAC. They have mentioned a
Oh,
special
oh,
guy
oh, oh, okay.
Right.
where Abbott is like Abbott's boss has said an ASAC. It stands for Agent Assistant Special Agent in Charge.
Oh, okay. I was thinking of
Yes.
Costello,
Yes.
Abbott Costello.
Yeah. I
Yes,
think. Right. I do. I don't think that was.
or
I think that's
that's a
who it
totally
is
different
too.
character.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I think
Yeah, at
that's who
first
it
I'm
is
like,
too.
is that Breen? But then, of course, it isn't. Of
Well, that whole
course,
Breen thing too. I'm still like,
it's
why is his
weird.
ex-wife in on it? It seems to be the ex-wife is in on the conspiracy or the
Ah,
wife.
it
There's
could
something
be.
I need to see more about that whole
But
story.
JJ loves his mental institutions. He loves
Yeah.
mental hospitals. So
Daddy
he's
issues in
got.
mental hospitals. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, interesting. Okay. I was reading an article here that Adrian Barbeau talked a little bit about J.J. Abrams wanting her to come on the show. Well, there's not too much more in there. Sorry. That's a digression there, folks.
You leave us hanging. It's okay.
There's just a little bit more stuff there, but I agree. I think that the guy, I think that's who it is at the end there, Ando. I think that I don't think that that's like the big reveal, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't
Oh, I
think
don't
that's the
either.
big
Yeah,
bad
it's
guy. I think that
a
that's the
Yeah.
reveal.
it's gonna that guy is gonna lead us to the
Yeah, he's just
larger.
another cog in the.
Exactly, you're
Yeah.
right. The larger Washington conspiracy that she's aware of, right?
Yep.
So that's an interesting aspect too.
Yeah. So
Why
why does she,
Who's aware of? You talking to
Evelyn
Evelyn?
Breen?
Okay.
yeah, Breen's wife. Yeah. Why
Well,
does
yeah,
she
she's
know
got a
this
direct
stuff?
line to him.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Why does she know it? Is Breen really in the mental institution? What's really going on? Why did and this is one of those classic like somebody's on to the thing we did a long time ago, right? Kind of,
Yeah.
right? Like get the crew back together. We got to figure out how
Oh,
to
I thought you were
handle
doing Doctor
this.
Evil at first.
No, no, oh no, no, this is my telephone, Solo.
Oh,
This is my
see,
telephone. You're old enough to remember when a phone looked like
yeah,
your
yeah, yeah.
hand,
Well, that's the thing. It's
right?
like pretend you're using a telephone to show your age, and old people do this, and
Yeah.
then other like
Yes.
I
Yeah.
forget what they do
Yeah.
with the iPhone.
Well, we learn more about that. Of course, Nina and Awan they go to they actually, as I said before, they break in when she's telling the story, her a little bit more of her backstory to him, right? And she breaks in and they find that some of the powder or dust that she takes as evidence,
Yeah, because
kind
originally
right?
when they're talking to Grooms earlier, she says something that the report says that it was a propane explosion is what caused it. I
Right.
think so. I'm guessing that's they're saying this will be take forensics. I'm guessing that's what they're testing to see if that's what it actually was. Is my guess.
And it harkens back to the amazing fake video from last episode
Yes.
of the bomb toot, 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 exploding from the like it's so obviously. I mean, I don't know what kind of propane tank that was, but it looked like a bomb to me.
And she's obviously going to use that switchblade again a couple times this season, isn't she?
Yeah,
When they
yeah,
put out
Switchblade
those
Sisters.
and
yep.
I like too how she calls Awan or Awan a details man. I just love when they call characters things like that. Like you're the you know what I mean, grease man or details man or I just love that kind of
Yeah,
heist type stuff.
Axel's
yeah,
our grease
definitely.
man.
Oh, I am a
Yes.
grease man. Now, was there much more that took place? Am I missing anything else? Because most of this stuff was connected more to Jim in this episode than Nina. We had some of the Nina, but it did seem to be more like 80-20 in what it really was. So did we not talk about any more of the Nina stuff? Is there anything else we missed? We didn't see
Uh,
the other agent this episode, did
No,
we?
no.
nope.
Or the other two agents that we
Yeah, the
met
two, his
last week?
sidekick and
Yeah, we didn't see
Grant
them
and his
either.
sidekick.
We got this stuff about her dad, her past, the relationship developing with Awan, collect grooms, collecting the evidence as well, talking to Adrian Barbeau, who is also, by the way, in Cannonball Run,
Hmm?
famous movie of
The real
racing
question
cars.
is, have you guys ever tried a cactus taco?
I have eaten cactus before.
I
Oh,
think I have, but I don't remember
I've
it.
Yeah,
never. I've never. I don't think I've had
I've had
cactus
it.
cooler, but that.
I had cactus one time. I can't remember.
Well, so I used to have relatives in Arizona, and I
Um,
know I tried it, but I don't remember if I liked it or not.
I don't remember either. I thought it was not, maybe the one I had didn't taste like much, but I ate it. I do remember how they cut the little barbs off of it and you can kind of see it.
Yeah.
Oh.
But no, I don't, I'd probably be like, yeah, I'm good.
And one thing I'll say about that contact in DC that Evelyn calls, he does have a cowboy hat on, so I don't know if that is a link to.
Southwest or their area.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I would
he
think
does have a
so.
cowboy hat on. He's not from
The,
Washington.
yeah, I dig it. All right. Was there anything else, Ando, that
Um,
we missed?
I don't. I think we got most of the storyline stuff there.
Okay.
I jotted down a couple of great lines when Jim goes to meet Sunglasses for the first time, and he's like, "Well, we've never met," and then he starts listing off all of the things, and Sunglasses says, "Well, I can't confirm any of those," but he's like, "Flagstaff bounty hunter, Mexicali barber." Sonora City councilman resigning in disgrace. Just the way that Holloway delivers those lines is so like
Yeah,
Sawyerish and so great. I had a smile on my face that whole conversation. Just loved it.
that was good. Yeah, there were a lot of great lines in this
So what
one.
was the one when Luna's playing the guitar trying to what do you know what the song is? And he's like, God, what does he say? God bless America or something.
What the heck was that?
What
No,
did he say?
God, I
It
wish I could
wasn't, but I
remember.
thought he said, what was that? God bless America.
Yeah,
I,
she's like,
I was
no, no, no. Yeah. Let's see what else.
The cursing is good too. It is still a little bit for me to hear Josh Holloway curse because he didn't curse in Colony, he didn't curse in Lost, right? These
just
are
a
the
son of a
main
bitch
things.
was the
Yeah,
classic.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
So
Son
the
of a
cursing gets me. I'm
bitch.
like, yes, I
Yeah,
like
it's
it.
good.
Yeah, this show does. It has such a bright, sunny, like I mean, the way it's
Sunshine
shot and
Day.
everything,
Oh,
Sunshine
sorry.
Day, all
It's
the costumes, the car, everything. That when they do curse and nasty stuff happens, it does get you. Like the fight between him and Sunglasses was really epic. That was a lot of physical
Oh, and
yeah.
stunts and stuff,
the end
right?
there with
Yeah.
how his face gets crushed.
The
Yes.
whole
Oh man,
thing
that
though, them
was
throwing each other down and the punting and and the that there was some first of all the shot in the beginning of the episode where it's turned where the car is kind of twisted a little bit and
hmm
it's like at a diagonal. That was great. And then the shot when he's running after him down the bowling alley
Yeah.
and it's a wide shot and you can see that he's going to catch up to him, right?
Yeah.
Like, and you're like, yeah, he's so much faster than him, right? Yeah, it looks good. Everything looked great. I don't know, a lot of stuff we could call out as far as the
The
shots
only,
go.
you know what, I got a couple of just scamming through my notes. There was another thing that when Jim first walks in at the beginning to talk to Saxton, Saxton's on the phone and he's obviously making a large gun order. I'm sure that so he has lots of firepower. Like he lists off
Is
like four
something
or five
happen?
different
Is he
guns.
preparing for something? Is
Yeah.
something else going down? You know, because we have to think of that too. While Jim and Nina are on this investigative journey, other shit is happening. You know,
Right.
like we've
Yeah.
already talked about Mad Raoul and other things that could come up later. But there's also the business that Saxton is involved in and whatever else is going on. Abbott as well, right? So there's a larger conspiracy that they've got to tap into. And we can think only later on we're going to find out what that conspiracy is. But
hmm
they're probably laying hints to it now that
Yeah.
we can pick
That's
up on upon a rewatch or whatever and say, that's he was ordering the guns because in episode 5 there's a big shootout or so,
Right.
right?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
so that's good stuff to pick up on.
The and I'll give one other good line, one other Josh Holloway line that was great. We didn't talk about because it was really a brief scene where Nina and Jim are together for just when he tells her about the cop that's onto him and trying to bribe him and she's like, "Are you fucking with me? When I'm fucking with someone, I don't get this vein in my forehead." And just all of John, I just like I had to write down these lines because they're just so damn great, and he delivers them so amazing. I miss Josh Holloway on my TV screens. So great.
Ando, great job on the facts and details on this episode, Ando. Thank you.
Thank you, Ando.
We
Oh,
love
you're
you,
welcome.
baby. We
Yes.
love
You're our little duster of the week.
you're our Adrian Barbeau.
Huh.
Um,
No, he's our colonel. Maybe he's our colonel.
Yeah,
so Colonel
Colonel. Yeah,
Tom.
Colonel. Let's give him
Would
the
you
colonel
rather
title.
would you rather be Colonel Tom
Colonel.
than Adrian Barbeau? I don't know. I don't know.
Depends for how long.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's true. It's true.
Colonel Tom probably has a lot more money, but
Yeah. It is Friday, Freaky
But
Friday.
Adrienne Barbeau's got a career ahead of her
yeah, that's
at
true.
this time. So,
Yep.
Yeah. Um, and she had very kind things to say about the actress that played her. There's an article about it, so you could look it up. But anyway, we will be back next week to talk about episode 3 of Duster, and we'd love to hear from you. I don't say it enough during the pod here, but you can email us at dvrpodcast@gmail.com. You can join our Facebook group. We have 2 of them, Duster on Max, as well as Daily DVR, a TV and film podcast. You can also subscribe to Daily DVR to get all of our podcasts. Next week, I believe on Tuesday, I'm going to record the first episode. Ann and I are covering Sirens on Netflix, which is a fun show. And I'll put links to Ann's show and our show note or her YouTube uh, channel in our show notes so you can check it out. I think we're going to do the podcast on us and the YouTube on her channel. We can also, Ando, I think you might be able to figure out. I think there's a way you can actually share, you can like collaborate and share it on your. He's
I think so.
already
Yeah.
he's already saying yes. He's figured it out
The
already.
Colonel
Well,
knows.
The
I wouldn't
Colonel
go that
knows.
far, but yes,
And
I think that we can do that.
maybe we'll be back to talk about The Last of Us on Monday, or I don't know, or two next week at some point. It is the finale. We had been talking about the show for many weeks here on the YouTube. Um,
Yeah,
but
Monday's a holiday, but
that's true.
um,
We'll
Hmm.
see
but
at some point. At some
I
point.
might be available. But I'd like to talk the finale in the season, the three of
Yes.
us.
Okay, maybe let's do
Yeah.
that. But then on Monday, I should drop a film list because I still have a bunch of those.
Yes,
So
you
for
do.
a special holiday celebration, a Heath Solo birthday celebration, which is on
Amazing.
Sunday, we will drop a film list for the patrons on Sunday, for the wider audience on Monday. How does that sound, folks?
That I was thinking of that today, but I didn't want to press any buttons
It's
because I
happening.
know the summer we're going to need some content with traveling and different things. But you read my mind.
The only
Like,
place I'm traveling is down the hallway to the Lego room, Solo. That's just
well,
about
we are around.
It's about as
Yeah.
much
I was
I'm
traveling
gonna
as
say
I
aligned about.
do.
I don't think I have much going on
Okay,
either.
so well,
So
Yeah.
I'm trying.
yeah.
Solo, who has no kids and a life, unlike
Yeah,
Yeah,
Ando
yeah.
and
that's
I,
So
I was
had
gonna
who
say I've
have no
got
life.
kids stuff going on, yeah. And you
Um,
know what, speaking of that, let's get out of here because you guys aren't even gonna believe this. Normally I like to say some smart ass thing about the episode, but I literally have to go to the bowling alley.
oh,
So
okay.
nice. I like it. Well, I do have one last thing to say before we go. Latoya, come on the show. Come
oh
talk with
yes.
us. We want to talk about Duster with you. We want to pick your brain. We want to find out your inspirations, how it got made, how it's being received, everything. And we thank you for your great work. This was a great episode. Thanks everybody for listening. DVRpodcast.com. Peace out.